I'm sure that you will remember why we are here. I don't need to go into any long explanation as to why we are here. We have had communication previously from the University of Indianapolis, specifically from Dr. Vakunta, about our proposed collaboration, their proposed collaboration, let me put it that way, to collaborate with us in service learning. I think without wasting any more time, let me once again welcome everybody here and express at least a little bit of a disappointment, but also take responsibility that not all members of the Community Engagement Committee are here. Although I had previously indicated we were going to meet on this day, I didn't communicate the time and venue as timeously as I should have, because it was only last night that I actually communicated that time. But I was hoping that because people already know about this day, they would be able to adjust their schedules. And this morning I also even tried to phone some people. I could not even get them on their phone. So because of those little problems, they could have contributed to maybe lack of attendance, because there are about 10 members of this committee. So not about half. You can expect to be if Mr. Gibile comes. But to me, it really is not a huge problem, because we can go back and discuss it. Let me then take the opportunity, firstly, to introduce Dr. Vakunta, who is coming from Indianapolis, and who, as you all know, is behind the proposal that the University of Indianapolis in the United States collaborate with us here, the Northwest University, in particular the Mafikeng campus of the university. He will, I'm sure, go into greater detail on that, but I thought I should officially introduce him and welcome him. With him is a friend of his, Mr. Sikepe. The first name is, let us get the first name?
Wilson.
Wilson Sikepe, who happens to be a fellow South African from Limpopo, who is also a friend of Dr. Vakunta, and was kind enough to help Dr. Vakunta to drive him from Limpopo to this place. We welcome him too. Having said that, may I just then ask the rest of us to please introduce ourselves.
I'm Phil Zen. I'm in the English department.
Development Status.
Yes.
Amanda Duplessis from Theology.
Nice.
Georgia Odwara, Psychology.
Nice.
Sizo Monahe, Director of the School of Social Sciences, but in the Department of Development Studies. That is where I teach.
This is good. Nice to meet you, Prof. Nice to meet you for the second, third, fourth time, I would say. Okay, thank you, colleagues. As Prof. Monahanks just said, I am Peter Vakunta. I hail from an African country called Cameroon. You guys probably know about Cameroon. It's the Central African Republic. We're very much known for soccer. So if you know about a country that takes soccer as a religion, that's Cameroon. I was here about, I would say 5 years, 3 years teaching at the high school with my friend Sekepe in Limpopo, and then 2 years teaching at UNISA for 2 years teaching at UNISA. And I left this country in 2000 to go to Barack Obama's country. And I've been in the US since 2001. Currently, I'm a professor of global languages at the University of Indianapolis, and we lost our computer, huh? Okay, so I'm a professor here, and I do hold 2 titles. I'm the chair of the Department of Global Languages and Cross-Cultural Studies. I'm also one of the directors of a newly created center. It's called the Mega Center. The Mega Center is the Multicultural Engagement and Global Awareness Center. We have 5 directors, one of which is myself. I'm in charge of the curriculum design and delivery. So those are the 2 hats I wear at the University of Indianapolis. For those of you who don't know the U.S., Indianapolis is the Midwest, very close to the state of Illinois, the capital city of which is Chicago. Okay, and next to us is the state of Kentucky with the capital city, Louisville, where Muhammad Ali died recently. So if you know any of that, if you've been watching TV, those are the 2 states that surround us. And I mean, we are in this, our university is not a very young university. It was created in 1902 by the Methodists, and now it's kind of between the Methodists and the state, with a population of about 5,600 students, both black and white, and the majority of them come from the medium socioeconomic class. So I think I should begin with a little narrative. Way back last year, I think it was early last year in May, my university hosted the International Service Learning Symposium, which we normally jointly host with the University of Stellenbosch in the Cape. And so I met my colleague, Dr. Tito Monaheng, during that conference, and we had a nice fraternal talk, and since then the relationship has evolved into what we're now talking about today. So a couple of months later, I sent an email to Dr. Tito and I said, I'm very involved in the community service learning curriculum design at my university, and you are in community engagement. Could we come up with something, a project or a program that will enable us to do what I call interinstitutional partnership? So my university would be teaming with you to do things, maybe do some curriculum design that would involve our students both ways, so we can exchange best practices and move our students both ways. So that's the kind of origin of the program that I sent to you guys, that I sent to Professor Tito, and I'm sure he's shared it with you. And so I'm here today just to reinforce that whole proposal. And the idea behind my proposal is to create a partnership between the University of Indianapolis in the States and the Northwest University at Mafikeng. I think I will talk and then I will show you, but you can see in the background already, we have service learning that is kind of twined with community engagement. So my idea was to come up with something that would serve as a capacity building kind of initiative between the 2 universities, where I would come here, for instance, with a team of 2 other people. My proposal had to do with 2 other faculty members coming with me here to kind of discuss how do you design service learning curriculum, and how do you involve students on campus, how do you enroll them on campus, and let them engage with students at K-12 level, maybe students at high school level in the community, which will lead into that actual community engagement involving community role players and so on and so forth. So that was my initial proposal that I sent to Professor Monaheng, and he said, okay, Peter, I will talk with members of my department and we will take it further. So later on I told him I was coming to South Africa for a number of reasons, and he said, well, would you be able to come to campus and we can meet faculty members and we'll talk about that. So the crux of my proposal, which is yet to receive green light from my dean and the other administrative officials like the provost of the university, because they have to give their blessing. The crux of the proposal is to come up with a train-the-trainer kind of program, where I come here with my colleagues and we sit down and we look at some of the parameters that we can explore to develop service learning courses. And you guys, we can select a few faculty members from here. They'll come to the United States and see how we design courses and teach in the community. Because that's some of the things that I teach. And you'll be hearing about this tomorrow when I give my talk. I will give you examples of what I do and show you how successful they have been. And so the second level of the whole partnership would have been involving our students from this campus, coming over to the States, for instance, and in engaging with students from the University of Indianapolis and actually participating in community projects that we have designed already together with members of my department. I should have told you that I have a department of about, I would say, 12 faculty members, most of whom are very, very involved in service learning, okay? So if we start with the trainer program maybe for 1 or 2 years, and we're able to really design courses that would involve the community, then 2 years later down the line, we can involve students. We can bring students here, they will engage with your students here who are carrying out projects in the community around the university, and vice versa. Okay, I was talking with Professor Manaheng. I think the problem here would be, how do we make money to, say, send a bunch of South African students from this campus to Indiana and vice versa? And of course, I told Prof that we have a lot of donors in the States who are willing to support students who are involved in study abroad or study away, or actually inter-institutional engagement that promotes service learning and community engagement. I should have mentioned that my university's motto, the motto of my university is education for service. And so we're very big on giving back to the community and, you know, trying to make sure that our students actually create a nexus between the university and the surrounding community. So that was the crux of the issue. From my end there in the United States, the issue is to, first of all, listen to you guys and see how you guys react to the proposal. And that's why I'm here today to just talk briefly about what my proposal is, and then listen to your questions, and probably try to give you some answers. Because I think at the end of the day, if you guys are happy with my proposal, I think we then come up with what I call an MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, which will try to see how that Memorandum of Understanding is approved on both sides of the divide, so here and also in the United States. So that's the crux of my proposal. I will probably sit down, but I want to show you what we do before I sit down, and then we can just do an informal Q&A. You can ask me questions, and then we can take it from there. But here is our website for the Center for Learning and Community Engagement at the University of Indianapolis. This center is not headed by myself, it's headed by my colleague Mariana Fokrold, who is actually from Greece. Let me see if I can see her here. So this is Mariana, very smiley lady. I'm sure, Prof, you saw her, right?
Yeah.
She was very active during the symposium.
Yeah, we met.
So she is the director of the Service Learning and Community Engagement department at the University of Indianapolis. And under on top of her, in terms of administrative hierarchy, is Professor Gerber Gammon. I'm sure you also met her. She is the Dean, Assistant Dean of Interdisciplinary Programs and Service Learning. So Mariana answers to Professor Gerber Gammon. She's German. And then we have Erin Gahima, who is the student assistant that helps them do some of the wonderful things that they are doing. I want to underscore the fact that this center does quite a number of things. And one of the things they do, other than help faculty to develop curricula that students can take and earn, academic credits. Because each of the courses that we design, they are courses that students will take and earn academic credits. For example, my own course is titled Languages Without Borders, and the students take that course and they earn 3 credits per unit they take. Other than that, other than design courses that enable students to engage with the community, we also do volunteerism, which is also part of community engagement, because when students volunteer, they don't get academic credits registered on their transcripts, but they do have those hours recorded on the transcript so that they see that they are actually engaging with the community. And sometimes those little differences, the fact that you have a number of hours registered on your transcript, can make the difference between getting a job and not getting a job, because most employers want to see that you are part of the community, that you are giving back to the community, and so we have the volunteerism. And these ones, like I said, they're not credit earning courses. They are activities that students can do for various centers, for example, the Center for Handicapped Kids, and so on and so forth, to earn some volunteering hours that go onto their transcript. And I mentioned to you earlier that we have, because I know when we will talk about moving students, that will be this phase 2 of our partnership. Maybe after 2 years, we have already established curricula, and we want to bring students from here to the States and back. Money is the issue. We do have grants that they could get. One of the grants is called the Indiana Campus Compact, and they do offer scholarship to professors who are engaged in curriculum course design that takes students across the borders. Because I remember I talked about the Mega Center is actually multicultural engagement and global awareness. So we want to expose our students to as many opportunities as they can to know the world, to be able to respond to the call for global citizenship, and are able to compete on an equal footing with several of the other students that we graduate, thousands or even not millions of them we graduate on a yearly basis in the United States. So as far as grants are concerned, faculty can initiate that at their level, and they will involve students based on the authenticity of the program that you designed. Okay? So other than that, we also have donors in the community that are very involved in trying to help us do a lot of engagement activities, like the Wheeler Center. We use the Wheeler Center, actually, that bundle of donors behind the Wheeler Center that help us to raise some funds and design activities that are appropriate for community engagement. So, so these are some of the things. There's tons of other things that you guys can actually access. If you just Google service learning at UND, you will see quite a number of things that we're doing here. Tomorrow we're talking more about that, and I would want to use my own course as an example. Faculty resources, we have all kinds of things that we do using other courses, because Professor Garman is actually the Dean of Interdisciplinary Studies. So we do not just base our community engagement on, we do not base our service learning on just community engagement. We also collaborate with other faculty. For example, my courses, because I'm a language and linguistic professor, my service learning courses are language-based. So what I do with my 300 Language Without Borders, you're going to hear that tomorrow. I do recruit students from campus, they enroll into my course, and I take them to the community, and they help teach what we call second language acquisition: French, German, Spanish, and Chinese, plus Portuguese that we do. So they teach those little kids, grade, I think they go from grade 8 to about grade 12. They teach them reading skills, second language acquisition, life skills like soccer, and all the things that they do, dancing, and so on and so forth. So that's what we do because most of our students in the community, I have a project called the Laurel Wood Project. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. They come from disadvantaged backgrounds, black kids, with some of them with no parents, where they have a mother, but they don't know where their fathers are, so they are very, very disadvantaged, and they need some help. So we come in as a university and recruit students, and they go there, they help them every day from 4:30 to 6:30, Monday through Friday. And so that's what we do, and you have all that. Also, we do have all kinds of things that we use to evaluate the program, how effective is the programs, and how can we replicate that. Because that's the kind of thing I'm trying to do here. We come up with tangible program, we can replicate that across disciplines, across campuses. Okay, so there's a lot that I'm going to talk about again tomorrow. But I wanted to give you just a snapshot of what we do. It's a lot of stuff. But I thought I should give you a snapshot and probably give you the time to ask me a couple of questions, either based on the proposal or based on the proposal and other things that you may be having in your mind in terms of questions. Does that give you a fairly good idea of what we're doing and what I intend to do with you guys down the line? Okay. So I'm going to probably ask for your permission to sit down and we can just chat. You just throw questions at me and we can try to resolve them as we go. Thank you, folks.
Thank you very much for that introduction
Thank you.
and elucidation. Before I ask colleagues to ask questions, I will ask questions after them. May I just indicate, maybe, I don't know if all of them know what you are talking about when you say tomorrow you're going to be making a presentation. I'm not sure that I explained to them, I can't remember. But the thing is, when the campus head, we are having this meeting with Dr. Vakunta, they then said, the director for community engagement, Dr. Mgijima, who was with us last week, she said she would like also to have him present on the same subject tomorrow because the campus is having a kind of, I don't know what they call it, seminar. I don't know if it's a seminar, but they're having something at Mawatu-san where, if I heard correctly, only faculty representatives on community engagement are invited. In other words, if I heard it correctly, from our faculty, I will be the only person there, and maybe the dean will also be there, because I know the dean also has to make a presentation. I'm not sure if anybody else is invited, but I know from different faculties there will be people, and who else I don't know. So he has also been asked to go and make a talk there when they heard we brought him here for ourselves. So they thought they may also use him. You don't mind if they use him. If they use him.
That's right. And the topic of my presentation tomorrow will be building social capital through service learning and community engagement. What we will talk about tomorrow. So it's a three-pronged presentation: indigenous knowledge, building social capital, service learning, and also community engagement. This is what we're looking at tomorrow.
All right. With that, can I then request colleagues if they have questions? I have a number of questions myself and comments, but I would like to give colleagues the opportunity to go first.
Was it so clear that we don't have questions? Any
I
training
think because he had taken time to, the director had taken time to explain it last week. And,
Okay.
But that is not to say we won't have questions.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be very happy to hear questions because I think if we take the whole proposal seriously, there must be a few things that, how can we handle this? How can we smoothen this edge? And what are some of the challenges that may crop up and how do we resolve them and stuff like that?
I think one area we were concerned, I was concerned, not we, let me not speak for the group.
Yeah.
He's the only one who can speak for the group. But how are we going to, how is it going to work? Is it going to be credits, are there going to be credits attached so that the students who will take it, they will have these credits for their graduation? Or are we going to integrate it into existing programs here and give the students credit for it? How are we going to use these students out there in community engagement in a way that it is not just for the purpose of community engagement, but increase their professionalism? So these were some of the things that
you were playing around with that, and that's seriously that's a very, very interesting question because, as I mentioned, talking about my own course, Language Without Borders, it's actually a language-based service learning course. And as I mentioned earlier, I make it a credit earning course so that students take this course for 15 weeks. We do have 6 semesters at the University of Indianapolis, United States. We have this winter, we have the fall, we have the spring term, which is 3 weeks. I normally take my students to France and Italy or France and Spain to have some fun with them there and expose them to global issues. We also have these 2 short summer semesters, each 7 weeks long. The first session 7 weeks, the second session 7 weeks. So my proposal, my idea here was to make this whole proposal a curricular kind of exchange where you actually design, we come here and we can actually help sit down with you guys and help you conceptualize the design of curriculum, service learning curriculum. And it becomes one of the courses under your department where students can take it either as an elective or as part of a major or as part of a minor. And they would earn 3 credits. My students earn 3 credits. It's part of our majors. They can take that as an elective and they earn 3 credits after taking the course for 15 weeks, because each of our semesters is 15 weeks. And so that's one option. The second option is if you want to make it volunteerism, where you recruit students on campus. It's not a credit earning kind of thing, but you volunteer, you get students to volunteer in the community. You have to create contacts with community collaborators. For example, you choose a high school or a secondary school here around the campus, and you work with the stakeholders there, and you take your students there maybe 2 times a week or 1 time a week, and they do volunteer work. That will be recorded on the transcript just as volunteerism. But my thing, what I've been doing is to actually just do a 3 credit